Hello, I'm OmnusI, your game master this evening here in my lair. Hello friends, here we are at long last, here with Massive Darkness. Now, we've waited for this game for quite a long time, and I've done my unboxing videos. Now I thought it would be nice to have a bit of a gameplay, so that those of you who did not back this game on Kickstarter can consider whether or not this game is something that you yourself might want to get. And rather than doing something critical about it, we're going to just do some gameplay so you can judge for yourself if this seems like something exciting that you would want to do. Now, because of my situation that I'm in right now, and to make a good video for you, I'm going to be doing solitaire play. The game supports 1 to 6 players, and I'm going to test if one player can go alone through the Massive Darkness and be effective. To do that, I've got my character all set up and ready. We're going to be doing the tutorial, which is only 2 tiles wide, and it's fairly straightforward. 1 corridor, 2 sets of rooms. This area is not to be used. There's no door leading to it. So there's just this room, which is separated by a door in and a door out, and then this one with a single door in. This room is also not used. As you can see, the tiles are broken up into light squares that have some sort of light source to show that they are in light, and dark squares. Dark squares are useful for a couple of reasons. If you're out of line of sight and you dart into a dark square, enemies don't react as if they've seen you. Therefore, they don't approach you. They have a preset pattern of patrol that they go through. If you are in a darkened space, you are considered to be in shadow mode. Shadow mode gives you extra abilities. So, the character that I've chosen for this is Siegfried. Siegfried is a cranky dwarf. Hammer and shield. He's kind of geared up as a gladiator. And he is primarily a specialist in absorbing punishment and dishing it back out. His shadow mode on his card gives him an extra point of damage on an attack that he makes when he's in shadow. Doesn't matter if he's doing it from ranged, magic, or from melee. His special skill is revenge. If he takes damage, his opponent takes damage in the form of wounds, so they can't resist it, which is kind of nice. For starting gear, he starts out with a token suit of leather armor, which allows him 1 die roll for defense. For his offense, I've chose the mace. It gives him 1 yellow die to attack, which is the weakest, but if he connects, enemies automatically lose 1 successful defense against his attack. So it gives a better chance of that damage sticking around on an enemy. So, I have the Lifebringer, which means that if he dies, I have 2 chances of resurrecting him before I completely lose. So, enough to give her a good go. As far as class, I've chosen the Pitfighter Berserker class. It's a good class for soloing. It doesn't have a lot of skills that are based on what my allies do, or even having allies. If I spend experience, his signature ability gives him extra damage for as much wounds as he has. For every 2 wounds, he gets an extra point of damage, which can be very nice. His free class skill is invoked with Bloodlust, meaning to use this I have to take a point of damage, but I get to reroll any number of attack dice one additional time, which can really help turn a weak blow into something worthwhile when you absolutely must do damage. In addition, taking damage from the Bloodlust attack will sometimes feed the signature ability. The closer he gets to death, the more damage he is potentially able to do. His other skills will not be coming into play so much here because this is just a tutorial. I'm not expecting to fight bucket loads of enemies, so experience will be a little bit scanty. What we're really shooting for here is good gear that may help us out in the future. Now, I am going to be using the story mode for this, meaning that I'm not going to get a lot of experience and gain a lot of abilities here. This is going to be something I'm going to go a little slower with, and if you, the viewer, want to see more, you let me know, and I will continue on the campaign path with Siegfried if you have any interest in it. If you don't, this will be a one-off, and hopefully we'll have fun together anyhow. So, since there's only me, there's no need to worry about who's playing first or anything like that. I will start things off. Now, Siegfried has 3 melee actions, or 3 combat actions, I should say. He starts here in the starting zone, and first of all I'm going to break up one of those as a movement action. I get 2 movement points when I spend an action in movement. That involves moving 1 space into this zone. I'm still in shadow. I have a clear view all the way to the exit, and I'm going to spend another movement point to open this door. Now, if I was playing with my friends, I have 3D doors for my 3D dungeons that I typically use, but in this, we're just using what's in the box. Now, when I flip open that door, I open it, so I draw from the door deck. And it turns into guards. There are guards in here, of course. In the first room, I have no enemy, but I have 3 treasure chests. 1, 2, 3. Unfortunately, I have people with noisy cars driving by, so I apologize. Also, my family is up and awake, so they're moving around. So I'll try to be loud so that you can hear me over everything. I also get to spawn 2 chests in this room and 2 chests in the last room. I get a guard card, level 1, and we'll see there is... Ooh, Orc Flayers. Orc Flayers are nasty enemies. So they will be in the second zone. So for Orc Flayers, we're going to have an Orc Flayer Shaman. And for the number of heroes, 1 minion. Well, there's only me. The Flayers are... the fine fellows with pair swords. So, yeah. So that's the Orc Flayers. Fun times. And the boss and his minion, as the boss is present, he gets a treasure that he's going to hold. He may be able to use it. I flip over the treasure, he gets a lesser healing potion, which he can't use. That's excellent. The boss isn't any stronger as a result. And if I kill them, I get a healing potion. So that's nice. However, they are in the light, which is somewhat unfortunate because I don't get to use my Lightbringer ability. So we are going to move up here for 1 movement action. Another movement action, we will claim the treasure within. 3 treasure chests means 3 draws on the level 1 treasure. Gnomish Golden Sack. That counts as 2 equipment cards to transmute, and I'll show you what that is most likely in a moment. A Great Sword. It does 1 red die of damage instead of the yellow die that I have, which is a better combat die, as you will probably see. It also, if I get any particularly successful blows called BAMs, which have 2 successes, and a little explosion, I do yet another point of damage. So the potential for doing more damage is probably going to make that a weapon I will choose to use over my mace. The last one is a Scepter of Fear. It is a 2 yellow die magic attack. So if I equip that, I could start blasting those orcs right away. On a BAM, I stun the enemy, knocking him down so that they can't react in that turn. Well, that's certainly tempting. Almost too tempting. I am still going to go with the Greatsword instead, because that kind of plays more to my character's strengths. So I'm going to put aside the mace and use the Greatsword. I will keep the other items only so much. I'm going to trade in the Gnomish Gold Sack and my mace, which I'm replacing. That's 2 level 1 items, and the Gnomish Gold Sack counts as 2 items, so it's a total of 3 items. I can do something called transmuting. I can take useless items and turn them into a treasure a level higher. So drawing a level 2 treasure in their place, I get a composite bow. It's a nice weapon. It does 1 yellow and 1 red die of damage. And if I get any the BAMs on the attack, I get to reroll any number of defense dice an additional time. So if they have any successes on their defense, I can make them lose them. For now, though, I'm going to concentrate on hand-to-hand combat, so that's not quite as useful for me. Then, since I moved and opened, moved and picked up my gear, and by picking up gear that allowed me to shuffle the Greatsword as my weapon, I could unfortunately not move and attack. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to take 1 movement and move back, which goes back into the shadow and lets them play into my hands. I'm not going to get any casualties this first round, but trust me, there's a strategy to this. So, I'm done with my turn. The enemies get to take their turn. They don't see me because I'm in shadow and I'm not in line of sight. By their action, the first thing they're going to do is try to move closer towards the start token. So they'll move 1 space over so that they can see the start token, and then they can clearly see me even though I'm in shadow. Now, these orc flayers do not have a ranged attack. They can't hit me. So they're going to instead have to move closer towards me. Now they're engaging me in hand-to-hand, but because they move twice, they don't get an action to attack me, meaning that I am free and clear to start pummeling on them, and I'm in the shadows for that extra point of damage. So tactically, this was a good decision on my part. Maybe it's not the boldest, but it gives me an advantage and denies them that free shot on me. So their turn is over. No experience was earned. I don't have enough experience to do anything. And I don't want to do any more, adjustments or have anything else to do. So the next thing that happens is I flip over an event card. The event card says Rear Monster Patrol. If there are already roaming monsters in play, activate 1. There aren't any right now. The roaming monsters are the big terrorizing creatures that the darkness uses against the heroes. There aren't any at the moment. If not, spawn a roaming monster card. Okay, that would be really bad. I'm already in 1 fight and then a big nasty creature would come up. Place the enemy in a zone with a token of the current level -1. Ignore this card at level 1. I am still in the very first tile, level 1. Therefore, this card does not take any effect. I'm free and clear for a little bit. So, that gets discarded. I don't have to worry about them. And I am free to go on into the next round. Since I am the only player, I go first. I'm going to choose to attack the orcs, of course. Because I'm in the shadow, my shadow mode skill gives me an automatic point of damage. And they don't have any defense. So I'm automatically going to kill the minion at the very least. I also get to roll the red die for damage. So I'm going to do that now. I rolled 1 point of damage. Now I go back and I look at the orcs. I spoke a little too hastily. I forgot. These are orc flayers. These aren't weak goblins. Each one of them can take 3 points of damage. So I dish out 1 point of damage automatically. I take one of these wound markers and put it on the space to show that they've taken some damage. I've done another point with the greatsword, so I do that as well. So I'm most of the way towards killing the minion, and the boss is still untouched. Alright, that's my first combat action. My second combat action is to roll again. Now again, I'm going to do 1 point of damage automatically. And then I rolled another point of damage. The free point of damage kills the minion because he can take 3 points of damage and he had 2 on him already. So he's dead. 1 point of damage spills over and affects the boss. So, with my last action, I'm going to attack him one more time. If I don't kill him with this attack, he's going to get a counterattack on me for free, and then he's going to get his normal action, which is another attack on me. So let's try to kill him before that happens. I get 1 point of damage for free because of my special ability. We're in shadow. And now I rolled a blank. No damage. So he is going to live, barely. He'll die from my next swing. But he gets a counterattack. Unfortunately for me, he rolls a red die, the better of the dice, and to which my leather armor gives me only 1 blue die to defend. It's not the best defensive die. The green die is better. But with any chance, I may be able to weather this attack, or maybe I'll take some damage. Now if I take damage because of my revenge skill, that will kill the boss off immediately. So there is that. So I rolled 1 shield, so I've defended, and he rolled a blank, so he did no damage. So I weather his counterattack. My turn is over. Now it's his turn to do his enemy action. Since he's in melee with me, he's going to attack me, so I roll those dice again. And again, the red die is kind of cold. It's got a blank, and I rolled a defense. I take nothing. Alright, well, unfortunately time is on his side, because now that the turn is over, I have 1 point of experience for killing the minion. Because we're doing the story mode, I'm awarding myself 1 micro experience point. I can use that to activate my Berserk signature power if I want to, but if I can accumulate 4 more points, that'll give me 1 permanent point, a step closer towards being able to afford a skill. So, even though the orcs are nasty opponents, the fact they have no defense, the minions are still worth only 1 experience. Now, when I kill the boss, he's worth 3 experience and would be worth 3 experience to any other players. But since it's just me, it's just that. Alright, so I go after I check what the event is. So let's see what this is. Forward monster patrol. Uh-oh. If there are already roaming monsters in play, activate 1. If not, spawn a roaming monster card and place the enemy in a zone with a token of the current level +1. That means we get to see a roaming monster right away. And it is, oh, the giant spider. Giant spider is a nasty creature. It is the one with the biggest base. And he's a cutie. If any of you have arachnophobia, I apologize. But, yeah. He is a handful. And he appears on the token of level 2. So he's looking right at me. So I'm going to have to deal with that soon enough. But it's my turn. And first of all, I'm going to kill that orc. I'm automatically going to kill him because I do a point of damage without even rolling a die. I'm going to roll a die because I enjoy rolling dice. Overkill, I killed him with an extra point to spare. So he goes down. And these go away. And I get 3 micro experience points. So I'm up to a total of 4 now. Now if I kill that spider is worth 5 experience. 1 total point of experience if and when I kill it. So we've got that going for us. So that was my first combat action. My second action is going to be spending 2 movement points to move into this room. Then I'm going to spend a movement point to loot the room. This is the first movement point of my third action. And I find 2 treasures. Flipping those over, it is a Plague Javelin, which is a ranged weapon. 2 yellow dice on a ranged attack, and BAMs give extra wounds. That's not damage, that's wounds. Those aren't soakable. That's not something they can defend against. And a lesser healing potion. On top of that, I forgot, I already got the lesser healing potion from the orcs. So I'm feeling pretty good in a fight right now. I now have 2 healing potions. The Plague Javelin doesn't impress me too much. Again, I'm not going to be much of a ranged combatant. At least not the way I'm envisioning things. And then finally I'm going to use my last movement point off my third action to move 1 space into the library. I can't loot it yet, but I'm there. So, now, enemy's turn. The spider does see where I'm at because I'm in a light zone. I have the most experience out of anybody, so he knows, but the way is blocked. So he's going to advance to try to get closer to me. And that is it. I don't have anything to do with my experience. My 4 micro points are not enough to do anything. And the enemy can't get to me to combat me. So we flip over another event card to see what goes on. Rear Patrol. Spawn a guard card. Place the enemy in a zone with the token of the current level -1 and ignore this card at level 1. So, yay, again I'm at level 1, so he doesn't do anything to me. I can live with that. Alright, now it goes back to me. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to collect the contents of the room. There's 2 treasure chests and the key. So now I can leave the dungeon if I could just get past that big spider. So I also get 3 experience points for finding the key. So 1 gets me to 5. I'll end up with 2 micro experience and 1 actual point of experience. And those 2 treasure chests reveal a Dagger of Sure Strike and a Charm of Protection. So, the Dagger of Sure Strike, nice weapon. I can reroll a blank result 1 additional time on the attack. That's very nice. Except that I'm already using a 2-handed weapon, so maybe not as useful. The Charm of Protection on defense, I get to reroll 1 attack, 1 attack die 1 additional time. So if I get a crushing blow, I can actually hope to mitigate that. That's kind of nice. But I've got that spider, and I'm still using a okay weapon, and I have the starting level of defense, which is not ideal. I'm not going to be using that Dagger of Sure Strike while I've got the Greatsword. Not interested really in that Plague Javelin all that much, nor that Scepter of Fear, although stunning an enemy would be fun. What I'm going to do is I'm going to transmute those 3 treasures into a level 2 treasure and hope for the best. We get a Cloak of Shadows. It is armor, provides 1 point or 1 blue die in defense, and the hero is always considered to be in shadow mode, so I'm always going to get my shadow ability working. An extra point of damage is not a bad thing. Now I can freely game around that and not have to worry about being in shadow. So, my leather armor goes by the wayside. And I still like having those 2 healing potions. I'm going to be a little gutsy in this. I'm going to trade in those healing potions, and I may regret this. I like the Charm of Protection, but I'm going to trade all those treasures in to get another level 2 treasure. The Wand of Healing. That doesn't help me at all. Turns out that was a bad trade on my part. So, that was 1 action. Or sorry, that was 1 movement. My second movement is going to be to open the door. Yeah, I'm going to want to do some damage to that spider before I'm done. So I'm going to open the door. And then I'm going to charge in and I'm going to attack him. Now, one thing I forgot, again, haven't played this so many times that this comes naturally yet. The giant spider does get to start out with a piece of gear too. He gets chainmail armor for an extra point of protection. And if he gets any BAMs on defense, that gives him an additional point of protection. So he is a nasty opponent. And I'm going to try to do some damage right away. I'm really going to be relying on every advantage that I can get. The extra point of damage from being in shadow mode will be nice, and hopefully dealing more damage to him when he deals damage to me can be useful. Because he's probably going to hurt me. But he has 5 times as many hit points as there are heroes, so he's got 5 I've got to get through. It starts with this. I have 1 die plus 1 auto success. And he has 1 green and 2 blue dice. 1 because of the chainmail it's wearing. So, here we go. He gets 3 successes and a BAM for an additional 1. And I get 2 successes and a BAM, so I get a total of 4. He gets a total of 4. That didn't do anything to him. This is unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Now what I could do is I could use Inner Rage, Bloodlust, and reroll the red die, and there's not much chance of getting better than that. And since I have no wounds on me, I really have no other recourse, and I'm pretty much done. So, that was my round. Because I attacked it, he gets a counterattack on me. He's going to use 2 yellow dice, and he gets 1 auto success on damage, because he's a spider, and they have poison. I have 1 blue die, and that's all I get. So I have to kind of hope for better. Alright, well, I rolled 2 successes, and the BAM isn't going to help me at all. He rolled 3 plus 1 auto is 4. He rolled a BAM, but that doesn't help him. That only helps his ranged attack. So I take 2 points of damage. To which, because of my revenge, he takes a point of damage. For free from me. And that is how that round went. I'm a little hurt. He's a little hurt. I'm hurt worse, but I get 3 swings on him this round. Before we do that, I have no experience to spend. But we check to see what the next event is. Shadow Blessing. Heroes in Shadow Zones may heal 1. And I'm always treated to be in shadows. Nope, it says if you're in a shadow zone. This is still lit. I'm not technically in a shadow zone, even though I'm in shadow mode. It doesn't help me, so I'm not going to heal from that, actually. Alright, so now it's my turn again. I have my 1 red die. He's got his 2 blue and a green. This doesn't seem fair, but sometimes the dice can be kind. So we'll see what happens. He absolutely crushed that. 6 plus 1 is 7. 7 defense against my measly 2. First attack did nothing. Okay, a little bit more interesting. He had 2 successes on defense, no BAMs. I had 2 attacks and a BAM. So that's 2. The BAM on my greatsword makes 3. And my special ability in Shadows gives me 4. I actually deal 2 wounds to him, which gets him closer towards Bug Heaven. He's now piled up 3 points of damage, and I'm feeling a little bit better about things. My final attack, we're going to try to finish him off. I need to do 2 points of damage to him quickly. Even 1 would be fine for me, because then when he attacks me, if he deals any damage, he'll take a point. But I would much rather kill him now. He has 2 successes. I have 1 plus 1 success. Unfortunately, I don't kill him. He doesn't take any damage, which is not that uncommon for as tough as he is. So, he weathers my attacks. He gets to counterattack. He gets his 2 yellow dice and an auto success. And I have my 1 blue die. And we're just going to hope for the best here. Okay. I block 1. He deals 1. He does have an auto success. So I too take a point of damage, but that means he also takes a point of damage. Now I regret losing those 2 potions of healing. I gambled quite a bit. So I've got 2 hit points left, and he hasn't had his normal action yet. So again, he's going to crank up his attacks. I'm going to try to defend. If he does 2 points of damage more to me, I am dead. However, if he deals 1 point of damage, he is dead. So we'll see. He deals 3. 2 pluses 1 success. I save nothing. I'm going to die. And he is going to take a point of damage. Now he is going to die. I use one of the charms of my Lifebringer to come back to life at the end of this round. But he is dead, and I get 5 experience for that. Which brings me up to 2 points of experience. And the spider dies. Basically impaling himself on my character. The chainmail is there for display. And my character wakes up wondering what just happened. So, yep, that's how that works. So I've kind of stumbled a little bit, but yeah, we do an event real quick. Forward patrol, spawn a guard card, place the enemy in a zone with the token of the current level +1. So, since we're still level 1, we're still drawing a level 1 guard card. And we get Dwarf Warriors. There's a boss, and let's see. The boss has got a cleaver and a hammer. And his minion has a mattock, a hammer with a kind of an axe driving head. And they spawn over here on the level 2 token, looking at me with their beady dwarf eyes. Now, these are evil dwarves. Don't like them much. They do have a level 1 treasure. And that is, oh, a wooden ring. In defense, I get 1 automatic BAM. That doesn't help me because my armor doesn't do anything with BAMs, but that might change. And this is the sad thing. I forgot to use my Charm of Protection in that last fight. Completely slipped my mind. So yeah, that could have gone differently. When I reincarnate, I start back up again. 5 hit points. And I see dwarfs ahead that need to be pounded. So, on my new action, I will charge ahead at them. I don't have the charge ability yet, but that's something I definitely look for. It allows you to move and attack in your movement. Normally you have to move to them and then attack. Now I could have switched weapons. I could have gone with the composite bow, which is a very nice weapon. But they would try to get it move into melee range with me, which could be dangerous. So I feel comfortable going after them with my greatsword and my wooden ring and my Charm of Protection protecting me, and my Cloak of Shadows. Not putting on the chainmail armor because I don't feel confident enough that would be all that useful for the situation I find myself in. So, especially since I might find myself in a patch of light and not need that. The more I think about it, the more the chainmail probably would have been a better one for where I'm going, but that's fine. I get 2 swipes at the dwarves before they can do anything. Oh yeah, these particular dwarves get, ooh, a battle axe, a one-handed melee weapon. That yellow attack BAMs. Defender gets attack -1 die for this counterattack. Ooh, that would have been a nice thing to use against that spider. The spider would have only been getting 1 single die against me on the counterattack. Oh well, didn't have it then, and we're gonna have to move up and do better now. Alright, so we're going to attack. We have a red die for that. They have a blue die for defense. I like the numbers. We're in shadow, so I do an extra point of damage automatically. These dwarves can take 2 points of damage each. So, my first attack. Crushing blow by me. 3 successes. Also get a gem, which is the best result that you can get on the 3 successes on attack. It fuels several special abilities later down the road, but for me it just means I hit with 3 points of damage, plus 1 is 4. They have 1 shield for defense, so they take a total of 3 points of damage. So not only do I kill the minion and get the micro point of experience, but another point spills over and affects the boss. Now all I need to do is 1 more point of damage and he's going to die before he can counterattack. So we pick up the dice again, and he didn't defend. I rolled a blank, but I do 1 point of damage because of my shadow ability, so he's going to die. And the evil dwarf goes down. I gain 3 experience. 1, 2, and back up to 1. I now have 3 experience points. Still not enough to buy any special abilities. I get the battle axe. And now I have to take a good long look at my armaments. I have a greatsword right now, which is a pretty decent weapon. I have a wand on one side and a battle axe on the other. I could use two weapons. One would have effect at close range. The wand would have an effect at longer range. Couldn't use them both simultaneously on a single target, though. The chainmail would serve me well because right now I'm in shadow, and I don't really need the cloak to be in shadow at this point. The extra defense that it's capable of doing on defensive BAMs. 1 in 6 chance that it'll give me better protection. I'm going to take that. And I'm going to keep the greatsword. I've got a good feeling about the greatsword. I don't think its time has come yet. So I have 3 level 2 items. I am going to transmute those items into a level 3 item. Roll the dice, and I get, Gloves of Fast Hands. That would allow me an additional reorganization or trade action in a turn, so I could quickly swap out my weapons and loadout on the fly. That would be really useful if I had a lot of other weapons to swap to, which I don't anymore. So, my actions are over with. There are no enemies. I've killed everybody. So now I draw another event to see what happens. God of Fortune's Blessing. Place 2 normal treasure tokens on the zone with a current level token. Well, I'm now in level 2, so I get 2 treasure tokens that basically drop right on my head. And that is it. My turn. Being a dwarf of the Dwarven peoples, I will pick those up with my first action. Which reveals to me the Wand of Stupor and a Guillotine Potion. The Wand of Stupor can stun enemies quite well, and the Guillotine Potion gives an extra action that can be consumed. That's pretty nifty. It can certainly help out in certain situations. But 1 movement action. I'm not going to use either of those at the moment. I still like the greatsword. I'm going to move 1 space. So that's my first action, picking up items and then moving. Then I'm going to open the door. Now I could just run out and win. But I have only gotten 3 experience points, and the treasure that I have isn't exactly, burning down the world. The sword's okay, but it's not fantastic. My armor is barely a notch above basic, and while the gloves are nice, actually I can't even really use them because there's no level 3 zone here, so I am stuck with the wand and the potion at the moment. So, opening the door reveals a door card. Ambush! Okay. Well, if I wanted more fights, I'm getting them. The first zone has a special chest, which will be a level 3 treasure. The second room has 2. And the third one has 2. And the guard card at level 2 spawns right on me. Yay. Because it's an ambush. Dwarven Defenders. Nasty. Alright. Well, that means that this dwarf with this mighty maul and one of his little psychopaths with the long pole cleaver jumps me. And they have a level 2 treasure of chainmail, of course. That gives them a total of 3 blue dice on defense and 1 green die. This is going to be a tough, tough fight. And they could take 2 points of damage each, so yay. In addition, I have another level 2 boss, Goblin Warriors, which again is a boss. And they spawn way back here in the treasure room. And his little minion. I'd much rather fight them. They can only take a point of damage each. But I got into it. So that's going to leave me with 1 movement point, which is going to go to waste, because I'm going to have to go to combat with these dwarves. Alright. We roll 1 red die. They roll 3 blue dice. And 1 green. I'm going to need a lot of luck to beat this. Also, I forgot the Goblin Warriors. They also have a Spear of Impalement. So now they deal 2 red dice and 1 yellow to attack. And they can hit me from a distance. Lovely. Alright, so I'm going to attack. We're just going to hope for the best here. I have an automatic success. But these are really tough dwarves. It would normally take a group to whittle down something this tough. Or some special abilities, which I don't have yet. So I do 2 points of damage and a BAM, so that's 3, plus 1 is 4. But they block 4. They actually block 5 because they got a BAM on defense. This is going to be ugly, actually. I might be able to beat them if they only do 1 point of damage to me at a time. My next attack, yeah, they heal, they block 4 points, and I only do 2, so... Oh, actually, no, I didn't get an extra attack, that's right. It was my first action to pick up stuff, then second to kick open the door, third to attack. So, yeah, actually, that was an illegal attack. You're not catching me at my best right now. Alright, well, I attack them, they get to counterattack. They roll 2 yellows. And I roll 1 blue. Well, this will be interesting. So, they do 3. The BAM doesn't do anything for them. I block 1, so I take 2 points of damage. And they take a wound because I have revenge. And now it's the enemy's turn. They're going to attack me again. So I block that one successfully. I didn't take any damage. The goblins, they will move 2 spaces to get to within sight of me. Because they moved, they don't get to attack. So, and because they can attack with that spear, they don't even have to engage and be in the same area with me and the dwarves. So, that's a bonus for them, I suppose. Alright. That battle axe is starting to look a little better, taking away some of the dice that I'm getting incoming, but we're going to have to try. We've got 3 attacks to try to do some damage to these dwarves. Again, 1 red die against a green and 2 blue. I'm not liking my numbers, but sometimes you can succeed. That's why we do the rolls. Oof. Now they got a BAM, they got a gem on their defense. They have a special ability. They inflict a wound to the attacker. So I take a wound, which means they take a wound, and the minion dies. So that's one way to win, I suppose. And that goes by the wayside. Alright. Now, that was 1 attack. Here comes another. My 1 point of damage versus their 1 point of defense. I do no damage there. And finally, 3 points of damage plus 1. And they have 2 points of damage plus a BAM, which, because of their chainmail, gives them an extra point. So I deal a point of damage to them. So that was 1 point of damage to the boss. So that was good. Now comes the counterattack. 2 yellow. And against my 1 blue. If he deals 1 point of damage to me, he's dead. If he deals 2 points of damage to me, I'm dead and he's dead. So, I defended. I have 2 successes. My BAM doesn't... Actually, my BAM does help me a little bit. But, again, I keep forgetting my charms and rings and such. My defensive BAM doesn't do me any good. He does 2, I block 2, no damage. The boss's turn. He gets to go again. Okay, so he will roll. And again, 2 and a BAM, nothing. I get 2 and a BAM, nothing. I take no damage. The goblins get to go. The goblins, unfortunately, roll 1 red, 1 yellow, and another red because of that spear. I'm still rolling 1 blue. But now I remember my charm of protection, so if they get a really good success, I can at least try to take one of those dice away. Oh, and this is just ugly. Yeah, I'm gonna die here. I only block 1. They do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage. Even if I make them reroll this one to 1, that's still 5 points of damage. I'm still going to be very, very dead. Unfortunately. However, because they've wounded me, they take 1 point of damage, so this minion dies. And the last of the life bringers has to get used up. So, now I'm kind of at a tough spot. If I can quickly finish off the dwarf boss, I can sprint to the exit, which I'd rather not do, but I don't want to die and make this entire video kind of a waste. So if I can actually go and kill both of the enemies, I have a chance at getting some good treasure yet, level 2 all. So first of all, let's see what kind of an event pops up. God of Fortune's Blessing. Place 2 normal treasure tokens in the zone of the current level token. So another one of those. So 2 treasure chests drop down right over here. If he was really being that blessing, he'd drop them on the dwarf's head. But that's not the case. So I'm going to try to finish off this dwarf. I need 1 point of damage. I do 1 point and whatever I can get on a red versus his 2 and 1 green. Now if he rolls a gem on the green, he'll deal a point of damage to me and I will kill him with my revenge ability. That would actually be one of the best options. I got 2 and a BAM for 3 and my natural point of shadow mode skill of attack plus 1. I do 4. He only defends with 2 and no BAMs or anything. He's going to die. I legitimately killed the boss. That makes me feel a little bit better. I really didn't want to have to do a running battle or win by losing a battle. So he's down. Yay. I take level 2 chainmail, which is actually better than my level 1 chainmail by a sizable margin. 2 blue dice makes a lot of difference. In addition to that, I get 3 experience, which puts me up to level 4 in experience, and back down to 0 for micro experience. I need just a little bit more experience to be able to pull an ability out of this, choosing between charge, brutality, or bloodlust. All of which sound fun. But that was 1 action. For my second action, I'm actually going to, let's see, looking at their defense, they get 2 blue dice. I have a red. Yeah, we're going to get gutsy. I'm going to move up. And I am going to use my sword and try to finish him off. This will be an attack, a move, and attack. This will be my last action. He gets 2 blue dice against my red. I feel pretty good about this. I don't have the Shadow Cloak, which is unfortunate. So I'm really hoping I do well. Okay, I get 2 and a bam versus his 4. So he is going to successfully defend against that. Okay, I didn't get the kill, but he gets to counterattack against me. Again, he's rolling 2 red and a yellow against my now 2 blue. I feel a little bit better about this. And he does 2 and 1, and he got a bam. Plus he can reroll blanks, because he's a Goblin Warrior level 2. That's an ability they have. And he rolled 3 and a gem. I'm going to use my Charm of Protection to make him reroll that, hoping for a blank. Okay. He does 2 and 1, so 3, against my 1. So I'm going to take 3 points of damage from that. That is going to hurt. No doubt about it. The one consolation to that is, because of my revenge, he takes a point of damage and the boss dies. So, yay. I win by being pitiful, I guess? I don't know. I'll take the 3 experience without complaining. I will also take his Spear of Impalement, which was a nasty, nasty weapon. And the goblin goes away. Because I picked up a piece of treasure, I'm actually kind of starting to fall out of love with that greatsword. And the Spear of Impalement would give me a little bit extra tactical ability. So, debating. Actually, I'm going to swap out the greatsword for the Spear of Impalement. I like the extra range, and I'm still doing red and damage. Alright. So, that's the rest of my round. Now it's time to pick up the treasure and hope nothing else spawns. I'm in a really bad way. For the event, Shadow Blessing. Heroes in Shadow Zones heal 1. I'm not in a Shadow Zone, but that means no enemies come, which is good. Okay, so okay, I'm going to go for a sweep here. I'm going to move 2 spaces and pick this stuff up. So that's 2 level 2 treasures. We're going for greed here. There's no subtlety to this. Yes, plate armor, which we will take the plate armor. Plate armor gives us 2 blue dice in defense and 1 automatic success. That beats Chainmail's possibility of a success. We also found a long sword, which does a red die of damage, and a blue die on defense. I would be rolling 3 blue dice. I'm going to take that over the Spear of Impalement. The extra range is okay, but this is the potential for better damage. In addition to that, I'm also going to equip the Battle Axe in my other hand. So now if I get a bam on attacking, I can make the opponent's counterattack less. So I'm going to get rid of the chainmail, because that's worse than what I have. And the Wand of Stupor, which doesn't really fit my idiom. And I'm actually going to cash in the Spear of Impalement. And we'll see what level 3 item I get. A Javelin. It's ranged. It does 2 red dice, which is deadly. And it can be, even though it's ranged, it can be used in hand-to-hand. That's nice. Okay, so I moved 2. I picked up 1, and I'll use my other movement action to move here. My next action, I will pick these up for 2 more level 2 treasures. The Axe of Renewal, wonderful weapon, but it's 2-handed. It allows for healing. It does 1 red and 1 yellow. And the Fire Bow, which does 1 red, 1 yellow, ranged, and attacks in diamonds do extra damage. Nice again. Not really fitting what I'm doing, but okay. So, 1, 2, pick up, move, pick up, and then I'll move, and that'll be the end of my round. Another event, because there's no enemies here. I'm so close to 5 points of experience, but we're not quite there yet. So, rear monster patrol. A roaming monster appears. Back 1 level. Alright. The token is there. The monster is the Ogre Mage. Okay. The Ogre Mage is a big grumpy guy. He deals good damage in close range, but he's absolutely lethal at magical range. He has 2 blue dice on defense, so not bad, but not great. And with his level 2 treasure, he gets a King's Mace. 1 extra yellow die on attack. The other effects of the King's Mace don't really come into play for him. So, I have to think he's got 4 hit points. I've got reasonable attacking ability. And if I kill him, I get an ability for my next attack. Or for my next campaign. So, do I risk everything and attack him? Or do I just run out and loot the treasures that I've got in front of me? And the answer for this is I've got 2 hit points left and nothing left in Lifebringer. I'm going to run away. 1, 2. I'll grab 2 level 2 treasures on my way out. I know, you may be booing my decision, but quite honestly, I would feel like I'm cheating you guys if I got away with nothing out of this. So that is a short sword. It's an offhanded weapon that does a red die of damage. We'll be swapping out the battle axe for that, so I'm doing 2 red dice. And the Meteor Javelin, level 2. It's a 2-handed ranged weapon. Okay, well, it's a ranged weapon. I'm only going to use this. Well, of course, I've got the Gloves of Fast Hands, so I can swap for free. On an attack, the defender gets -1 die in combat, a blue. And if I get a gem, the defender loses 1 defense die of my choice, which would be green if he had any. That's not a terrible weapon, but it's 2-handed. So, alright, and I'm going to run out of the dungeon successfully. I have the key and I can get out. Much as I would have loved to have killed him for you guys, there was a pretty non-significant chance that he could have bested me with those 3 yellow dice he was rolling, even with my defenses. I didn't want to risk it. I want to walk away a winner. So, that was a round of Massive Darkness. I got through the tutorial single-handed. I had to make some decisions. I had to make some tactical choices. So this is a game that encourages that kind of gameplay. I didn't have anybody else to fall back on, so I had to play somewhat conservatively. Oh, shoot, I forgot to pick this up. Oh, well. So that was my game. I will be waiting for your comments, or if you're interested in seeing another solo game, because quite frankly it goes a little faster when I'm by myself. And you let me know what you think. So thank you for paying attention and watching. This is Rob here in Lair of OmnusI, signing out.